This is a graph showing the change in population of international students in the city of Groningen. And these numbers are only expected to go up from there. On paper, these numbers put the University of Groningen in a really good position as it continues to become more and more diverse. But these achievements are all overshadowed by the undeniable housing crisis that is taking place in the city. A crisis that is affecting the same students that are meant to improve the university's diversity. At least 600 students were registered as being homeless in September of this year, and there seems to have been little to no solutions for this problem. We decided to take a look into this and show you guys what it's like to be one of these students.
I can't find a room to be in.
I guess it's not a situation you would want for
I have been searching for a room, still homeless. If I don't find an accommodation, I will have to leave.
I just don't think it's fair for people to give up on their dreams. And
I'm terrified.
So back to the graph. When you look at the numbers, and when you look at the past year at least, you can tell that the population of international students in the city has taken a relatively big increase. 8,250 students is the latest number that has been updated by the University of Groningen. And when you compare these to the amount of students that are homeless in the city, as of September of 2021, these numbers are very alarming. 600 out of 8,250 students are homeless, and this turns out to be about 7% of that population, the 8,250. This doesn't sound like a lot when you look at it as simple numbers, but when you compare that to the homelessness rate of an entire country, like the Netherlands itself, the numbers are incredible. That is 0.23% for the whole country of the Netherlands alone. And when you compare that to the population of international students here, that is incredible, 7% against 0.23%. This is particularly alarming due to the fact that these are students that are willing and most likely able to pay for their own place if they had access to one. So we have a really big problem here. Now there's a large number of factors that have led to this situation, but we won't get into them in detail in this video because that's not the point of this video. Instead, we're going to share the perspective of a student who was homeless and had to turn to emergency housing, which he was lucky to find in the first place. So let me show you that.
Hi, my name is Louis and I was affected by the housing crisis in Groningen.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your situation, how you came across Groningen in general, and how your experience has been so far here?
Well, yeah, I was looking for some place to study that was not in my own country. I wanted to get out. And I just started looking at different options, and Groningen just ticked all the boxes I wanted to tick. So I just thought, yeah, why not apply, and I got in. So that's basically what happened, and I'm in my second year already, so first year was online, but it's been great so far.
Okay, so what influenced you to come to Groningen specifically? Like any marketing from the university or anything like that, or?
Well, yeah, I mean the program looked great. They did a good work advertising their program, and they made the city look very good. So, yeah.
That's another point I want to touch upon, and that's we believe that the university does a great job at influencing students in the sense that they promote it as a very good city for students. It's a great student life. However, they don't seem to mention specifically that there's a whole housing crisis going on. And do you think that that affected you, or was that a shock for you?
I think on the website they mentioned tips for getting housing, but I definitely didn't expect it to be this difficult, and I don't think they advertised it as being as difficult as it was for me. So I think, they touch on it, but they should definitely look more into it or work with the municipality to find some solutions, because it feels like there's so many more students than housing opportunities. That I think the university really has some sort of chance to change that.
So do you believe that it's fair for students like you, that are prospect students, to just come into the city and know that there's that they're providing tips to find housing more easily, but that they're not really stating that it's going to be really hard for most people?
I don't know about fairness, but it definitely felt really tough. Not knowing whether I would find something or not, and not knowing whether I would be able to live here and study here. Was the uncertainty certainly didn't feel nice. So yeah, I'd say it was not unfair, but it was not a nice situation to be in.
Have you found an accommodation yet, or are you still in the process of looking for one?
Luckily I found something. I was one of the few lucky ones that I found something, like many of the other people that still live here. I haven't found anything, and I have to say I found it through some contacts, so it wasn't any of the conventional ways of finding a place. So yeah, certainly I went out of my way to find a place, and it involved a lot of work to get this place, a lot of patience, a lot of resilience. So I mean, I found something, but it was hard to find something, and there's still many people that haven't found anything.
Do you feel lucky for being able to find a house, given that there's, like you said, a bunch of other people that still haven't found
definitely.
a place?
I mean, I feel lucky, but I don't feel like I should have been in this situation in the first place. Like, this is not a situation you would want for anyone. So yeah, I'm lucky. I was lucky to have found this place in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it was luck to find something, but it's not something you would want to wish on anyone.
And for how long did you live here before you found a place to live in?
So I spent like a bit over a month here.
Do you think that the conditions that you're provided with are good enough for most people?
I mean, at the end of the day, we were all like grateful to have a place, but the conditions are not good enough. Like, I didn't really feel like I was at home, especially like the feeling of still haven't found anything, the uncertainty, and the overall situation just like didn't feel very comfortable. From the start, they were pretty okay in terms of like cleanliness, but like after some time, since there's so many people living together, especially the kitchen was a mess, and at least I didn't feel like cooking in it. But I mean, overall it was okay. Everybody kind of took care of everything, but so especially the kitchen was terrible. The rooms, luckily, were just shared between two people, so if you kind of got along with the other person and you could like land some organization, that was fine. Same for the bathroom, it was only shared with another person. But yeah, specifically the kitchen, that was a mess, and that was not nice.
And overall, with your whole experience, what would you ask people that have an influence over this situation to do for you, or for other people that are going through the same thing that you went through?
I definitely feel that there's probably too many students being accepted without knowing if they are going to be able to find an accommodation. So it's like, I feel like the university accepts people without, yeah, caring that much about how they're gonna, like, they just leave it for them afterwards. So yeah, that's like my main message, kinda. Maybe the university should take a bit more care when accepting students, that they know that the accepted students will find accommodation. Yeah, and I've learned that the municipality also puts a lot of restrictions on kinda like licenses for renting out places. So there's many places that have, for example, 4 rooms, but you can just rent it out to 1 person or 2 persons at most. So there's probably a lot of rooms that are unused or that have to be rented out illegally. So maybe the municipality and the university can find some sort of work together to figure that out.
Is there anything else that you want to get off your chest, or?
Nah, just work hard, pursue your dreams. There we go. No.
Louis was just one example of a large number of students who have gone through this situation. And as he mentioned, there's still quite a bit of students who are waiting to find a place where he stayed before. In terms of their conditions, Louis wasn't completely satisfied, and rightfully so. And that's because he would have gladly paid for a different place if he had the opportunity to. But in the end, those conditions were far better than other emergency housing options. We went to the emergency housing located in the village, and what we saw there from the conditions was far from comforting. There were dozens of beds lined up in one room that were solely separated by one fabric screen. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go in and look at it in detail, but just from looking at it from the outside, you can get a grasp of what it must be like to be in there. So these are some of the solutions that the university has found to provide students with some temporary housing. It's also important to say that there's many students that have opted to live in other cities, forcing them to spend unnecessary amounts of hours traveling between their home and Groningen for what sometimes is just one class. And lastly, there's a common issue that would provide further help for this situation. And that is the fact that there's a large number of student houses that explicitly state that they do not want international students. If you look online, you can easily find listings for places saying no internationals or Dutch only. Unfortunately, this is an issue that extends far beyond what we have covered, but we hope that this video has created some awareness as to what it's like to be one of these students. And if you know anyone that's going through this situation, do anything you can to help them. We know that this issue will be here for a while, but let's help while we can.